Hello humans, and welcome back to another episode of RD2H Road to Happiness, building our dream realities one life lesson at a time. So it is July 17th, 2026, and I just got back from the office at 1 a.m. I left at 12:30, got home at 1 a.m. And a lot of people would sit there and be like, Natalie, that is absolutely fucking insane. You're at the office until 1 a.m. Like, why would you do that? That sounds terrible. But for me, I love it. Like, this has been a great day. I had a great day over, like, staying out that late. It's like partying, but at the office. And for me, it's like, what a blessing it is to be so passionate about something that you're willing to suffer for it. And I was thinking about it on the car ride home, so today we are going to talk about purpose, and more specifically, God's purpose for us in our lives and what that feels like on a day-to-day basis. So let's get into it. RD2H Road to Happiness, building our dream realities one life lesson at a time. So we can all agree, right? Love is being willing to stick with something even when life's circumstances get difficult. We say it in our wedding vows. For better or for worse, for richer or poorer, for sickness or in health. But we don't often give God the same respect. We turn to Him when things are worse. We turn to Him when we're poorer. We turn to Him when we are sick. And so we expect that kind of love. Love that deals with external circumstances and still stays together in our partners, in our relationships, as we walk through life. But we don't do the same thing to God. We don't do the same thing to our purpose in life. And we definitely don't do the same thing when it comes to following our dreams and who we want to be in this world. We let the world shape us. And so for me, my purpose is tied in with my relationship with God, and my job and what I'm doing with my life and who I'm becoming is tied in with that relationship with God. So I love what I do. I love it for better or for worse. I love it in sickness and in health. I love it when I'm richer and, as of right now, when I'm poorer. If you don't know, I'm an industrial broker in Los Angeles, still building my business. I haven't closed my first deal yet. I'm on commission only, and I work 12-hour days. As you can see in this video, I just got home from work at 1 a.m. Doing office stuff, so. And when I say I love my work and I feel purpose in it, I have fallen completely in love with what I do. I love the hustle. I love the grind. I love the pursuit. But most importantly, I love the growth. Becoming the person that I want to be in this world and choosing my own destiny. Not letting life be chosen for me, but by actually going out there and building my dream reality. RD2H Road to Happiness, building our dream realities one life lesson at a time. I'd rather deliberately choose hardship, moving to LA by myself, starting a career in one of the hardest fields and biggest cities, doing it on commission only. I'd rather take risk in my life and choose hardship than unconsciously walk into it. So anyway, tonight I was in the office, like I said, until like 1 a.m., 12:30. And around 10 p.m. one of my coworkers walks in. And he came in to get a free cup of coffee from the office. And he walks in and he's like, "Bro, you're still here? What are you doing here?" And mind you, he's not shocked, because this isn't like, oh my god, Natalie's here at like at 10 o'clock on a Friday night. Like, this is regular behavior. I'm gonna be honest, I don't do it every single day, but it's nothing that anybody would be shocked about to see me in the office super late at night, just sitting there by myself on my computer. So he walks in, he's like, "Of course you're here." And we end up getting into like an hour-long conversation about the business, how tough this year has been, how hard it is, how it's testing us, and mainly just about God. And so a lot of the conversation was about how this season has been filled with hardship and how we kind of want the suffering to end. But then we started talking, and I asked him, I said, yes, this has been hard, but if I give you $1,000,000 tomorrow, what would you do with it? Would you hold it in a way that represents God? Would you hold it in light? Do you think that you have become the person that is capable of God giving you everything without you being tempted to fall back into darkness, to destroy everything He's given you? And we both agreed, no, we couldn't handle that amount of responsibility and worldly things without losing our sight off of God. Because the bigger the gift He gives you, the stronger He needs your faith to be. We also talked about, when we really break it down, what has He not provided us? Yeah, we're living pretty scarcely right now as juniors in investment sales, and we're working long hours, and we barely, have enough money to do anything. We have no money to do anything other than work. But don't we have everything we need still? No, we can't go to fancy restaurants. No, we can't take vacations. No, we can't buy nice clothes. But we have a roof over our heads. We have food on our table. We have gas in our car. We have everything we need. And I even asked him, I said, if you had all the money in the world, what would you do with it? And he said, I would probably buy nice clothes. And then he caught himself and said, actually, I already have nice clothes. And then the really important one, he said, I would just like to have some cushion so that I don't feel like I have to find money and I'm looking for money everywhere, and I don't feel so much money pressure. We've been going through all year. Money has gotten me to the point where I've never felt fear the way I did this year around money. And I thought I was going to be homeless, and God provided me a tiny home, and He did it 2 weeks before. Which again, God's timing is never late, but it's never early. It's right on time always. Right when I needed the bridge between I was about to be homeless and I needed a place, He gave me a tiny home, not a moment before. He let me worry and stress and handle that fear around money before giving me the blessing. And that's what God does during periods of hardships. He is never early. He lets you stress out. He lets you fear. He lets you feel the uncertainty. And we cry out and we think, God, why are you doing this to me? Which is completely fair and part of the relationship. I can't tell you how many times during this last year that I have cried out like the men in the Bible and asked, God, why have you forsaken me? God, why are you putting me through this? God, why can't you make life a little bit easier? Why do I have to carry all of this? Me and God have gotten into some real arguments. I have screamed at Him. I have yelled at Him. I have cussed Him out. And I feel like that's fine because He knows the vibe. He knows my personality, so I feel like that's fine. But yeah, we don't always see eye to eye. But even in those moments, I always circle back and I say that God, thank you for the hardship that you're putting me through. Thank you for the lessons you're teaching me. Because this tiny home, guys, I thought I was going to be homeless. I carried that fear and that uncertainty. You can go back in the episodes from earlier in this year and you can literally see how scared I was, how stressed I was. And it wasn't until I hit a breaking point where I couldn't carry it anymore. And I surrendered to God and I said, God, I don't care anymore. I don't. I hit a point. I don't care anymore. If you want me to be homeless, then your will is my will. I will live out of that car. If you want me to, suffer, then I know you're teaching me something in the suffering, and I will suffer. And I completely surrendered to that, and I let go. And the second I did that, I got a tiny home. Because his plan was never to leave me without a roof over my head. His plan was never to keep me so dirt broke that I had no options. His plan has never been for me to suffer endlessly over and over again and get lost in the darkness. His plan was for me to realize that when I am in the darkness, when I am broke, when I have no options left, He is there. He is with me, and as long as I have trust and faith that He knows what I need on a daily basis, I will always have it. So what does worrying do for me? Because I thought I was going to be homeless and I have a roof over my head. So what does worrying do for me when it comes to this industry, when it comes to my journey, when it comes to the work I'm putting in? What is it doing for me? When if I have full unwavering faith that God is never early but He is never late, and He gives me what I need when I need it, in the moment that I need it, and He puts me through suffering for growth but never makes me suffer more than I can personally handle, and He knows my limits. So when we think, God, why are you doing this to us? He's actually doing it for us. He might push us to our limits, but it is always what we can carry. But He will walk alongside you as He builds you into the person that can handle it. Same way that most people who win the lottery end up back being poor. Not because they didn't have the opportunity, not because they didn't have the money. They won the lottery, millions of dollars. But they don't know how to operate with money, because they didn't go through the transformation of being somebody capable of handling wealth at that level. And that's true for every single dream each and every one of us have. All things are possible through Christ who gives us strength, but that doesn't mean that all things are easy. In fact, most of it isn't easy at all. It's possible. Building our dream realities one life lesson at a time isn't easy. It isn't quick, isn't overnight, but it is possible. Now, I'm not saying that all suffering is good. It's not. But I'm not saying all suffering is bad either. Suffering tied to purpose is loving something enough to sacrifice for it. And I think to myself, I'm living the whole dream. I'm living the whole dream. Everything I asked for, I got a chance to play the game. I am living the finance movies that I used to daydream about. I am living in Wolf of Wall Street. I am living in The Big Short. I am living in Dumb Money. And it's just, no matter how hard it gets, I'm living my dream. And I love it enough to suffer for it. And that's purpose. That is purpose. I love it enough to suffer for it, and to be so grateful that God has showed me I'm strong enough to carry out the exact person that I'm trying to be. And it's not really about real estate, it's about purpose. Real estate just happens to be the arena that He's placed me in to pursue this, to pursue growth. What I love isn't necessarily real estate itself. What I love is the hustle, the grind, the perseverance. I love being an entrepreneur. He just happened to give me a way to do that through real estate. So it's not attaching myself to the title, the company, the job, the position. When we attach ourselves to the outcome, the money, the life that we think we're going to have in the future, the status, the recognition, the title, when we attach our identity to all of these things, we set ourselves up to lose ourselves when life inevitably changes. There's a Chinese saying, I think it's Chinese, that says, the only thing that you can count on in this life is change. But when we attach ourselves to the mission, the journey, the dream, and becoming the best version of ourselves that represent God, and we commit to it, one door can close, another can open, life can change, seasons can come and go, but you will be intact, you will be okay, because your identity isn't rooted in the external, it's rooted in you, it's rooted internally, it's rooted spiritually. And when it's meant for you, it will fill you, even when it should drain you. I have felt what it feels like to go to work spiritually drained and depressed and feeling like the life is getting sucked out of you. And I have felt what it's like to go to work when you are exhausted but fulfilled. One has God in the center and His purpose for your life, and the other has external motivations. Now, you might hear that I'm an industrial broker at the largest investment firm, and you might say to yourself, that doesn't sound like God's purpose, that sounds like you're just chasing money. But here's the thing. Okay, I won't even stand for that. I won't listen to that. I will ignore that. Because the truth is that God needs leaders in every single field. He needs his people as doctors, lawyers, mechanics, hairdressers. He needs entrepreneurs, bartenders, athletes. God's purpose for our lives is not just ministry and preaching. It's representing His light in our leadership and how we present ourselves in every aspect of life. And in His divine timing, not a moment earlier and not a moment too late, He will open the next door when He needs you to walk into the next room. So that's it for this week's episode. I love you guys. RD2H, Road to Happiness, building our dream realities, one life lesson at a time.